Hi guys, and welcome to yet another Dash devcast. As I said, this is the second video for today. It took a bit longer because after that video I just went over the event sequencers to prepare for this presentation, and I decided to re-implement some of the stuff because I wanted to introduce the priorities. And since I introduced the priorities to event sequencers, I also refactored event listening to add priorities for event listeners inside Dash as a whole. So there will be definitely updates to this version just to add the priorities. So what are the event sequencers? It was one of the most encountered scenarios in UI development, and it is when you just fire events and for example you have a section 1, section 2, section 3, and you want to for example show section 2, so you call, and you already have a section 1, so you call hide on the section 1, and then you need to wait basically for the section 1 till it's hidden, and then you can uh, show the other section. So you need to wait, and this waiting happens, or at least happened before this was implemented outside of Dash. So you need to basically wait for some other events, and then you can refire the events and stuff like that. So I decided to implement the sequencing and this waiting basically inside Dash, so you can add it to the event handlers, and basically the Dash will wait for you, and it will create these sequences inside an internal structure and execute upon it. So let's go right into that. I have a very simple scene here with basically two graphs. One is a screen graph, and it's used on these two screens. It's the same instance of the graph, so it's the same asset. Uh, Nothing specific from screen 1 to screen 2, and then I have these pop-ups, and that's a different graph. Again, it's an asset graph, so uh, I just disabled the sequences for the screens, so I can show you basically what you have if you just fire events. Let me show you the code what I have here. So for example, I want to show screen 1, so I fired a hide event. This will basically hide the section that is, if there is any. If there is none, that it will do nothing, and then it will try to show the screen 1, and basically that's the for the screen 2 as well. Let me backtrack a bit and show you the implementation. So you saw it in the previous video. The screen 1, it's same as I said, it's the same graph for both screens. So what show does is basically on event show, it will check if this is the screen we want to show. As I mentioned, I'm sending a attribute the screen name, so it basically checks if the controller name is the same as the attribute screen, and if it's not shown, if it's the screen we want to show and it's not shown already, it will show it. If it's not, it will do nothing. There is a new node, but it is for the sequencers. So basically, I can, for this demo, quick demo, I can disable it. So it will show it. If it's shown already, it will do nothing. And same for the height. If I call height, and I'm taking into account that there is only one section at the moment at the same time that is shown, so I don't really need to check if I want to hide, because I don't want to specify which section I want to hide. I want to hide any that is shown. So it will check if it's shown. If it's shown, it will hide it. And again, there is an end event, but I can deactivate that. And as I said, it's the same for this graph. It's the same instance, same asset. So let me fire these buttons, show screen 1 and show screen 2. It will call these events, and I can basically, if I do it, I wait for it manually, it will at least it will don't end like this. As you can see, it totally threw off the offsets because it's basically firing the events. It doesn't wait for anything. So there are multiple twins at once of the same transforms and stuff like that happening. What I want to happen is it will wait for the height. It will then it will show and and so on. So let me activate these connections again, and let me activate the sequencer. It's a new model properties on the event, on custom event. So it was added to an existing node where you can, if you use a sequencer, you specify the name of the sequencer or an ID, and then you specify a priority for this specific event on the sequencer. So when I want to these two events, the height, to have the same priority, doesn't matter. So they will stack in the order they are basically handled, and I want them both on the same sequencer because they need to wait for each other. And then you have this end event, which is a new node, where you specify which which event you want to basically end, and this will mark, or it will tell the sequencer that that event happened. It finished because there needs to be some asynchronous, some animations to be finished before we can say that okay, it ended. That's why when if there is nothing shown, and we don't if it's already shown and we don't really want to show the section, we just tell the sequencer that okay, we are done. We just ended it immediately because it will execute in the same frame. Because if we didn't tell it to end, it would basically block all the other events on the same sequencer. So we are telling the sequencer to end. We have the connections there, so we can now fire up. And now what will happen if I just click this? It will basically wait for all the events. And as you can see, it does all the shows. As I click them, I clicked a bit too many, but you can do that obviously. So now it will wait for the height, and then it will show the next screen. Again, it will wait for the height. I didn't change anything here. I'm not waiting and a level above the dash system. I'm just firing event, and I don't care. The dash sequencer will basically wait for this height to happen, and then execute the show inside as a delayed callback, basically. What I can do is I can have basically, because this end will end without any intervention from the user. There is some animation happening, and then the event will end automatically. But I can use this event even on a different part of graph and on user interaction. So let me show you on the pop-up graph. So what pop-up graph does is I will show this later. Is it fires the pop-up event into the same sequencer, and it will not end after it is shown. It will end after it is hidden. So what this means, let me show you. It will show a pop-up. Let me introduce. Okay, I want to show the screen. Then I basically want to show a pop-up. So, and I want to show a second pop-up. If I want to show a second pop-up, it will wait for the first pop-up to basically go away. And as I said, we didn't really end the event. As you can see, it's delayed execution, it's still here. So if I now close this pop-up, the second pop-up, okay, I have it behind the screen. Uh, it's just the UI stuff. It doesn't matter. It's not data related. It will open. So again, if I want to show the first pop-up, it will wait till this event ends, and then it will basically show the pop-up. Now there is nothing, no need to wait for anything. It will automatically show. If I just click it and it's there, it waits because there is a pop-up event in the sequencer that didn't end, and now we will be ended by hiding it. And the second pop-up, so we can basically stack a ton of pop-ups there if we want to. And another thing is that if I want to basically show a pop-up, okay, let me show you a scenario. It's a very specific scenario for this, but let me show you. Okay, so I have a screen 1, and I click I want to screen 2, and I want pop-up. Now they execute in that order because okay, I wanted the screen. I clicked it first, and then I wanted the pop-up. What if I wanted to show the pop-up before the screen 2? Even though the screen 2 was pushed into the sequencer first, I can specify a priority for the pop-up that I already did here. The lesser the priority, the higher it is, basically. So you can go either way. So if I specify that it is -1 priority, it will inject itself before. Let me show you before the section 2. So okay, I have a screen 1, and I want to show screen 2 and show a pop-up again. Now, as you can see, it injected before the screen 2 event, and now it's waiting. And if I close it, the screen 2 comes. So you can use these priorities to prioritize some events to go before others. And this is not just okay. Has priority over everything. It is on each event. It is ordered by the priority. So if you inject an event, it will go basically. You can have a -2 event as well, and then the pop-up would not don't go first. It would go after the -2 event. So it opens up a lot of possibilities for you if you want to. Okay, so this is the new feature that I will update the code today as well. That goes into dash 05.4. It is highly experimental. I tested it a lot, so it's not experimental from this standpoint. It's working. I tested it on one of my test games as well. What I mean by experimental is that I may gather feedback from you guys and change the UX or UI or some of the properties. I'm thinking about various like aspects of this. So maybe this will change around the sequencers. We'll see. Because as you can see from my explanation and from my presentation, this is very all this asynchronous multiple events waiting sequencing is very like edge casey. You know what I mean. It's some of the stuff that will just jump out of you that okay, I didn't, or this system cannot handle this case of scenario, or you know probably what I mean. So if we just I want to give you this new feature, and so you can get your hands on it and try it out and let me know what you think about it, and give me any feedback is welcome as usual. So I'm really looking forward especially for the feedback for this new feature. There are some like edge cases that I know already that are not basically solved by priorities. Uh, like for example, if you want one event before another and then another before the second one, but not before the first one, you like basically everything is bigger than the next item, and the next item is bigger than the first item. You know, mathematically it doesn't make sense. So, and but it can happen in events, and it cannot be solved by this simple priorities. I was thinking about filters when injecting event sequencing, but it may bring the complexity of the sorts to a higher level. And especially if you want to do some kind of complicated sort, you know that, for example, the sort method in C# is not stable method. What a stable sort means that the items with the same value basically stayed in the same order. Uh, so if you sorted for example, if I use the sort method on the events in the sequencer with all of them at the same priority, the sort method can return them in a different order because the sort method is not stable for items with basically the same values. So I'm not using sort. There are other issues how to solve the like pre-sort, then store the indices and stuff like that. So I keep the option with filters, so a more complicated sorting open. But as I said, I want to hear your feedback on this and let me know. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching.